Hello everyone. Hope you are able to hear me. We'll wait for 1 minute maybe, then we'll start. If you are able to hear me, just give me a thumbs up reaction.
Yes, sir. So today the discussion would be on revision or something else.
This is week 5, so week 5 SQLAlchemy we'll discuss. The revision session will be on Saturday, I guess.
Okay, sir.
So just a small doubt, what number system conversions do we have to memorize? Like what we have to practice for till week 4?
No, you don't have to memorize anything.
So what conversions do we have to perform? Like I
If
have
you
to,
get a question about that, you will get the enough information about that in the question itself. So if you see
but
in
in
the previous,
PYQ it is not given. So I'm asking.
sorry,
In PYQs it is not given.
yeah, so whenever it is given, it is provided the full detail. So you have a table provided what you have to do and all. So everything is given to you in the question itself. You don't expect that in the question paper.
Hmm,
Just
like if it is given to octal to hexadecimal, then any procedure will be given there.
yeah, the table you have, right? You have seen
Uh,
the slides, is it or no?
we know the hexadecimal table, but
Yeah, it will
the
be given to you in the question if it is the question is asked. You
and
don't have
what
to
about
memorize. Sorry.
procedure of converting?
Hasn't it been covered in the sessions?
Uh, I'm asking because I may not remember, but it has not been taught. Like conversions are not been taught.
As far as I know, it has been covered. We have the uh, best live session videos where we have given that part. So it is already covered, but you don't have to memorize anything. You
Can
won't
you just
be.
tell me in which week it has been?
In which week have you seen that number system conversion?
I sir मैंने चारों week करे हैं, but the thing is PYQs में वो आया हुआ है and मैंने sessions भी देखे हुए हैं, but I haven't been taught of that, so I'm asking it.
Go through the slides. Okay, so this is what you have to go through the slides, week 1, week 2, where it has been covered, and then go to the live session if you want to study that. As I've said 3 or 4 times now, you don't have to worry about that. So
Okay.
be sure that, yeah, try to study the material which is given in the mock. Try to see that, and then you can proceed
Okay.
from there.
Thank you. Okay.
Like, and any other doubt regarding the concepts till this week, so week 4. Like, so I believe till now you guys have seen few things about app development. Basically, the app development which is done in the backend part, and also the few instances where you are working in the front end part, which we can call as HTML, CSS. And you might have a little bit idea now about how you can create a static page in terms of HTML, and also you have an idea about how to make it dynamic by the use of Flask, and then after that Jinja, and there are a few other various templating format which you can use. So this is a phase where you have a little bit idea where a app can run in terms of backend, and also a front end basic dynamic changes happening there, and also you know how to create a app. This is what I am assuming. Anyone still struggling to understand what I've said? So if you have not even created or done any assignment till now, the lab assignment, Can you just give me a thumbs up maybe if you have not done any assignment till now, lab assignments? Yeah, looks like all of you have done it. Good. So my assumption would be you know how a Flask app works, how to initiate it, how to use Jinja to get the data from the backend side or the function of the Python Flask. And then I also assume that you know how to handle HTML file. So there you have to take the data and show it in the screen. And you should be familiar with how the URL is working. But when I said data is not uh, only one way game. So if you just write it in a variable and just show it in the screen, that is not how all the data uh, would work like. So what do you mean by that? Basically, I want more than one instance of data, more than one row of data. It can be 100,000 or any other number. So whenever we are working with data, let's say if we are talking about this particular meet itself. So we have around 17 to 18 records of students or the people who are coming to this meet. So basically, you will store these data in particular databases. So, what do you mean by that? So, there is a particular block or a file in this case where you store some data, and that is called as database. Or it can be, let's say, it can be in a physical format also. So, you store some data there. You keep your files there in the particular block of your room or something. So something like that. So it can be a database. So you have data, you are storing some data in a database. This is what you have. Now in this course, particularly we will there are multiple type of storage which you might have heard of or you might have seen before, or if it is for the first time, I'll just tell you there are multiple type of database storage. So one of the type would be relational databases. So relational database is particularly where you have some record, row based, column based, table based record, which you talk about. So this is a relational database. How many of you are done with DBMS course or currently doing it? Just give me a thumbs up so that I can understand. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you know about databases. I believe you have gone through week 2, week 3 content, and you have done the SQL part. So this thing what we'll be discussing is SQL only. So we will be talking about how to store data in the SQL format, and SQL itself is a programming language, I would say. So where you have to write queries in a specific format that can understand your query and then do something about that query. So doing something would be maybe deleting something, adding something, or creating a new table itself. So you have to talk in that language only so that the SQL storage or the database can understand. So SQL is one of the formats which you can do. So we'll talk about the SQL only. In this course also, we'll talk about SQL. There are multiple others also. So there is unstructured database where you can just talk about that. So that is not the thing what we'll be covering in this course and later in the Mat 2 as well. So we will talk about structured database. When I say structured, that is comes under relational database where you have the records. You can have an index or a key to fetch those details. So one first record has some data. This row is about first record, second, third, and something like that. In unstructured, you don't have that such indexes. You can just call by uh, maybe name and then it can come like that. So maybe like that you can just what will be done in this session. Yeah. So you might have heard what I've said. So SQL we are talking about. So we'll Yes, I have something to share. I was sharing something only, but yeah, if you talk about sharing screen and the links, I'll share it. I just wanted to build up how things are working, and then we come to the links and whatever can be shared, hopefully. Okay, till this point, how many of you are with me? So have you understood what I said? One, only one, two. Okay, I believe few of the people are understanding what I'm saying. Okay, now, so till this point, what I've said is we have talked about HTML, CSS, Flask, Jinja. Now we will move forward from there and we'll go to SQL. The major point, uh, we will not ask too much question in quiz one about SQL or SQLAlchemy. So don't worry about that. But this is important because this this session will create a base for the next session. So this session is combined with the next session where we'll be talking about a relationship, how relationship works in SQL. So this is important in terms of that. As well as that, I will talk about little bit about how Flask app works that can help you in the quiz. So this is what the agenda of this particular session is. One more thing, so particularly whenever I take session, I use my GitHub repo and then I just share it on the screen and then we talk about that. I've shared my repo link here. You can just go to that page and try to see that. How many of you are familiar with GitHub or have you created your account in GitHub? Can you just give me thumbs up maybe? Okay, two, three, four people maybe. Yeah. Okay. So I will advise others also who are not that familiar and have not done creating an account. Uh, Please go ahead. In this week itself, you have time. You can just go ahead and try to create the GitHub repo for yourself. It will be helpful whenever you are working with the project. Okay, so this is so you get familiar right now, and it will be helpful while you are doing your project. So this is one of the things. Uh, I'll be mostly be using GitHub to show you the details and all, and I might tell you few of the codes which you can understand. Let's start off that. Okay, so I'll share my screen and then we'll start this session. Okay, okay. Hope you are able to see my screen. So this is the repo which I've shared, the link which I've shared. So this looks like this little uh, odd here. So in today's session, we'll go to app folder. Here are the files which we will be using, and this is the SQL MD5 which you should be able to open. So in the previous terms, what happened was I used to take three sessions where we talk about how to start off with Flask and Jinja, and then we talk about how to connect Flask with the SQL app, and then after that, in the last session, we talk about the relationship, how the relationship in SQL or SQLAlchemy works. So this was the idea. But in the recent past, I guess we have covered many times these kind of sessions. So we have converted those three sessions to two sessions so that one session can convert to the revision session. So this is the idea. We'll still be just talking about this. We'll cover session one and session two in this itself. Hopefully, you will be able to understand these things and it won't be overwhelming. Okay, so just as you see, it is about introduction to Flask. So you might know what is Flask. It is a micro framework to create app. Uh, why we are using it? Because this app creation software or microservice is helpful for the data scientists as well. So it is easier to understand and easier to navigate, and That's why data science also has some familiarity with this, and you can use in both in the web development as well as in the data science. So it is a good start off. This is the main thing, and then uh, Flask was used. This is the thing. After that, what? Uh, these are the codes which you should be using. First of all, you should install Flask to use it. So because it is an library or micro framework from Python, you have to use pip install Flask so that it will be installed in your local system, and then you can use it. Till this point, I guess you have already done it. If you have not, please go ahead and use your terminal. So what is terminal? You have a, if you are using Windows machine, you can go to search and use CMD and then open it. So this is particularly called as command prompt or terminal, where you can just use pip install and all. So this is the one thing. If you are using Mac, there is a terminal itself you must be using, and if you are using Linux, and then they are also same thing. Pip install Flask. This is done. After that, what? After that, we'll be creating a Flask application. So how to create a Flask application? This is very simple. You have to just so you have already installed it. You just have to call it in a file. So whenever you create a file, the extension should be in .py file. So let's try to do it maybe. So if we go to this page, uh, this is the same thing which is there in the GitHub. Uh, you can see, so week 5, we are inside week 5, and then inside app, and then I have few files. So I'll just create one file here. So let's call it sep.py. I'm just calling it sep.py, and this is my Python file. This is what you have to do. So let's say if you have done pip install Flask, so this, whenever you enter it, it should uh, try to install Flask. If it is already there, it will just say requirement already satisfied, and it won't do anything. Now, to do the same thing, so I'll just, what I should do, I'll just use from Flask import Flask. So this is how I'm calling it. Now, after this, so when are you done with calling it, you have to use it. So you have to create an instance. Hope you know that. So app equal to Flask name. This is how you call the Flask uh, app, and then you use a variable to store that instance. Whenever that instance is created, now this app can be used. So this app is particularly will be used whenever you want to create a URL, you want to build a context, or whatever you need about this Flask app. So this is why we are creating the variable. So to make our life easier, and not calling every time Flask saying that, yeah, I need you now, please come and do the stuff. So that's why we are creating a variable, and then we'll be using it. So how to use it? So if I do @ and I have to write a format where it should understand what I'm talking about. So app dot, I can create a root or whatever you call it, and then I can just give it a slash maybe in quotes, and it ends there. Yeah, so this is a normal function of your Flask, that how you can just create. After that, similar thing, whatever is done in your Python function, you have to write def, and then you can call it anything. So because this LLM is suggesting home, I just call it home, and then I have to return something or print anything. So two things, if you are printing something, it will show in the terminal only. If you're returning anything, it will show in the URL, or the wherever the URL is called. So it can be your browser or any other place whenever the URL is called. So we'll be using return. So this is what we have. It should end with quote as well, uh, and it should not do this. Okay, so this is our app created for Flask. Now, till this point, hope you are with me. So, any doubts till this point, or this was the piece of cake for you?
Sir, is there any other parameter also in like Flask? backslash name underscore name.
Parameter in a sense,
Like you are using a Flask in the underscore name in the line number 4.
yeah, okay.
There is any other parameter also, or only name?
Yeah, it depends. So let's say, so there are few things which you should know. So currently, just to create your Flask app, you just have to give a name reference so that it can understand. I'm saying everything what is there in the Flask, it should be given to this variable. And whenever I use this variable, it should call the Flask instances and then it should run for me. There are few other parameters which you can use. So the other parameter can be uh, two things which you will be formally using. So here you can see when I say static folder can have few static files. It can be a CSS file or something. There is one thing called template folder, this one. The template folder can also be used. So template folder is basically whenever you are working with your, let's say, HTML file, and you have to place that HTML file in a certain format or wherever it is to be placed. That place it comes under a name called template. So here you can see this LLM is also suggesting the same thing. So templates is the by default name and static is the by default name for static folder. So these two folders are there. If you want to change the name of it, you can use those parameters, static folder and template folder. You can change it to anything else. So whatever your name is, you can just name it that also. But by default, it comes under that. Other things you can use, but it is not highly recommended for you. So these two are the main which you can use. Otherwise, you can stick to the main default. So templates or static. So I'm using templates here. You can see. So whenever I want to work with HTML file, I will place my HTML file inside this. Otherwise, my Flask app won't be able to understand it. What HTML file we are talking about. Hope that answers your query.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
this dot route, is it a method of Flask or what?
Yeah. So you particularly you are saying create a route something as this. So this should be there slash. So to make this particular function understand where it should work, so you have to write route and then you have to give a slash or slash name or whatever. So it can be written as this or slash something else. So you can give any other thing also. So it should understand that this is the route where I should work for. This class, this function should work for. So that's why you have to write route. It comes
I'm,
with
yes, I'm trying to ask that dot route. Is it the method of predefined method of, which is already
yes,
defined in
yes,
Flask?
yes, yes, yes. It is a
Okay,
predefined
okay,
one. Yeah,
okay.
you cannot replace it. Yeah. Okay. Any other question till this point? Okay, I believe you have understood. So now I'll just remove this comma as well. So till this point, I have initiated the Flask app and I have also created an instance where we can go to and talk to. Now, uh, it should be able to run, right? You have to run this. So if you have to run it, you have to write something. So there is one thing called app dot run. So this is one of the ways. So app, because this is the app variable and I'm calling it to run. There is one method which you should be using, debug equal to true, whenever you are in the development stage. What debug equal to true does is it just runs your file, and whenever you make some changes to the file, so this file sep.py, it will automatically rerun the particular uh, app. So that means if I don't use it, I have to restart my app multiple times so that it can show me the changes. Otherwise, if I use debug equal to true, then I don't have to do that. It will just understand that these changes have been made and it will reflect in the browser itself. So for now, I won't be using debug equal to true and keep it like that. So now to run this particular Python file, because this is a Python file, we have to write Python command to run this file. So Python sep dot py. So this is what I have to do. When I run it, a URL should be created, a app instance should be created. So this is the URL which we have to use. So this is one of the things. So you have a HTTP and then you have a URL. So because we have created a slash here, it should add in this URL. So slash will be added here and it will show us welcome to the Flask app. So this is how it should be working. So if I change this, let's say I change it to name, it should go to this particular URL. Now, because you have done these things previously, I have a question for you guys. Now tell me in which URL I should go to get this result. Welcome to Flask app. So this is there plus what?
Slash
name.
slash name, sir.
Slash name.
Slash name.
Okay. Any other suggestion other than slash name?
Previous one, sir, because debug is not equal to true, so it has not run, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to this following link and let's see what happens. So here in the URL, you cannot see anything else because slash is there. It doesn't matter slash or without slash. It still gives the same thing. So if I write name, it will be remain as not found. The reason being, yes, whoever that said that we don't have debug equal to true here. So what you have to do is I have to stop it and then run it again. Now if I go to that name and try to see, then this should give the result. Hope you have understood. So keep your eye on what the code is doing. Okay. So hope you got the context what I wanted to make. Okay. Any questions?
So what you're saying, sir, is basically since debug was going on, the new update was not taken.
Yeah. So if
once
you don't write debug equal to true explicitly, it remains false. And if you make some changes, it won't understand till the point you have refreshed or restarted that. Okay. So to make that understand, you can just write debug equal to true and something like that. So if you now still you have to restart so that it can understand you have written debug equal to true. Otherwise, it will still be having this here. Okay, so let's try it out. So let's I'm using control plus C to stop it, and in the Mac you can use command plus C. Okay, let's start this and see the terminal here when I make changes here. So I will change name to names S. I will add S. So let's see what happens. So if I write S, you can see terminal is automatically reloading and it is understanding what I have said. So let's go back and see if it has the same data or not. So if first I go to name and then I go to S names. Now it is understanding. Hopefully you got the thing what I've said. Good. Okay, I believe you have. So now, so this is one of the ways. One of the things we should be doing. So if we are dealing with multiple files, I would suggest you have to use this condition so that it can understand that we are talking about this file only, this app only, which is given in this file. So you have to, whenever you are working with multiple files, you can just create this instance like this. So you have if name equal to main, so that it can understand I'm only talking about fourth line here, only fourth app. Now you can create multiple files in other, sorry, multiple app instance in other file also. It will understand only about that file. Otherwise, what can happen is if you just write app.run here and try to maybe run other file as well, let's say Python app.py, it can maybe run this file because you have not connected this app to any of the instances till now. So this is one of the reason which we'll be using 11th line so that it can understand I'm talking about this file only, talk to this file, it should be your main file and you should run this only. So if you have gone through any online templating engine, so Replit is one of the example which I can tell you. If you don't write anything in the main file, it won't run your particular Flask app. If you don't have any familiarity with that, so you can go ahead and check that. If you don't have a main.py file, it might not run your Flask app. So this is the thing. These things are already covered, so I'm not digging too much into it. So let's move on from here. Okay, so now we have understood how to create an app. There is something called Jinja you might have already seen. So this is how you can make your HTML file a dynamic one. So you give some data from your Flask app. Let's say if you are dealing with, let's say, return statement, you are writing render template. Render template is one of the key format where you use uh, the file name. So render template and the file name. So it can be index.html, and then you can give some data to that file. So name equal to name. So name can be given, and then name can be used here maybe. So this is how you use Jinja. So this is the major thing. Now this is the code which you have. I would ask you to go ahead and copy these code and open your maybe VS Code or any other file. Try to create it maybe, yeah. So go ahead and try to see if it is working for you or not. I'll wait. I'll just copy the code itself. One thing you have to notice is I am after Flask. So here you have Flask. I have to call render template. This is the second thing you should be noticing. So from Flask you can render template. You can call for render template and use it. Let's see if we have index.html. Because here you cannot see index.html, we have to create it inside the templates folder. So if I go to plus icon here, index.html. So now we have this file. Let's copy the code from here and paste it here. So this is our index.html file. Are you guys done? Have you copied? Anyone, if you have done, just say yes, and then we can continue. Hopefully. You just have to copy in Python file and index.html file. It should be inside templates folder. Anyone done?
Sir, in the GitHub, after choosing the app folder, where we have to go to get that code?
Yeah, inside app folder itself. So you're here, right? SQL.md.
Okay, sir, get it.
So app dev 1, week 5, app, and then SQL.md. I would ask everyone to do it because this thing will be helpful for your quiz as well. So if you have a familiarity with the code, how to write it, it will be a good idea to practice it here. Anyone done or no?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay, good. I believe few of them. Okay, so this is what we have. What we have seen till this point, we have a URL. We have understood that point, and then new thing is rendering a template. So template is this. This is our template. We have first line which says welcome, and then two curly braces, and then something is written over here. What is that? We don't know yet. Then after that we have a curly brace, and then we have a percentage symbol. We are writing a if condition here. So in Jinja also you can write a if condition. Here if items are there, so if item something called item will be provided to us, and then after that we are using the same HTML UL. What is UL? And anyone can tell me? It is a list, but what kind of list?
Unordered list.
Yeah, okay, good. So this is an unordered list which we have. There is one more thing which is written as OL, that is ordered list, which you should be familiar with, I guess, till this point. After that, we are using a for loop. That means this for loop uh, will be having multiple instance of data. So items is something which we have like this. So this is a list here. It will be provided in terms of list, and then we can loop through this list, and we can present item here in the double curly braces. So this is what we are expecting from it. Okay, this is the thing. Till this point we have seen before as well, and we have understood completely. But here one more thing comes to this particular line, line number 10, where you have to end your loop. Okay, so you have to write curly braces percentage end for, and then curly braces, you have to, after the percentage you have to end it with the curly braces. So because this is a new thing, you should be seeing these things carefully whenever you are going to your exam. Okay, so end for is one of the things. After that, if you have any other condition that is specified by else, line number 12, it will give you no item found. If it is not there, the item is not there, this condition is not satisfied, this should give us a paragraph called no item found. And again, we have to end if. You don't have to write end else, but you have to write end if. Even if you are not using else, you have to write end if. So this should understandable by you. Okay, I believe you have already done these things, so we should not talk too much about it. Now, our expectation is whenever I am rendering a template, the template should be called by something. So we are calling it index.html. We are writing it here. Then after that, we are giving some data to this particular template, that is name and items. It can be in any format, whatever you want to give. So list and a string is given. Now, whenever we go to this particular URL, our expectation is it should uh, show us this kind of formatting, and it should replace name and item from here, whatever given here. Have you got the context what we wanted to build here?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
good. So let's do the same thing, whatever we have done. So if we go to python sep.py, it should show us a URL. We should go here, but this time we'll be going to items. So if we click on this and change the URL, so we have a list here. similar to what we have seen in the code. So let's try to see it. So welcome name, because this is written here as user, or let's say if I write users and refresh this, it should change. Okay, and items have apple, banana, cherry. So this should run a for loop and it should give us in result. So this is unordered, that's why you are getting dot dot. So if I change here to maybe what is your expectation, what should it change to?
Sir, it would give numbers.
Okay, so let's try to see that. Right, so this is how it should be looking. Now one question I have here. So let's say if I write, because we don't have a URL called item, see the terminal and uh, the browser, what are you understanding? Why we have got a not found?
Sir, because it's not defined. Item is not defined.
Yeah. So keep
Item is,
these things in your mind. So whenever you have a question which is asking what a particular app instance will provide to us, and it is given a URL, first thing you should check that is it there in this particular code or not. If it is not there, you should be getting what? You should be getting not found. And in the terminal, the status should be
404, sir.
correct. So let's say,
It is because we have not rendered them.
sorry, what?
It is because we have not rendered it there in this file
It is
set
because we
or
don't
PH.
have this route. We don't have this route, so it is not found. This route is not there in this file, in this app. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Because yeah, so you only have two routes, so names and items, but there is nothing called item. So that's why this thing not found. So one homework for you: try to see, or you can just tell me if you know. Try to tell me that when you will get a status code of 500, and here you would get maybe internal server error. So when will you get it? If you know, tell me. Otherwise, it is a homework for you. I believe, yeah. So okay. So I believe you don't know right now, but yeah, try to see when you will get a 500 status code. Yeah,
Is
somebody
a
wants to say.
server load is overloaded.
Overloaded. Okay.
Means the load of
So
the
let's
server.
say if we give a chance, make some changes to this code and show me a 500 error in this terminal. Will you be able to do that?
So if I do any syntax error,
Syntax. Okay. Where should I change? So give me a change where we should make and we should get a 500.
okay,
Sir, yeah, where at the rate app.route, if at the rate is not given, could that give?
You're asking, no, don't ask me. Tell me, what should I change? Should I remove at the rate?
yes, sir, you can do, and you can also give the quotation around the
Okay.
render.template. This may
Okay. So
also,
if I do this, uh, and what? Now I have to get that error.
if you remove at the rate,
Yeah, I've removed at the rate. Yes.
then
Now what? Okay, this is a homework for you guys. Try to see when you will get a internal server error. So let's move on from here. So we have understood a little bit about Jinja as
Sir,
well.
hello.
Now, yes,
Sir, in which condition this URL or other URL shows blank page?
blank page. Uh,
Yes. No, instead of not found shows blank page. What is
uh, okay, so you are using debug equal to true.
yes, yes,
Still, it is showing a blank page,
yes. I previously
and your app is running.
yes,
Uh, okay, so if let's say if I don't run my app, I'll do Control plus C. It should show something like this maybe. So this is what you should be getting. So the other thing, if you are saying blank page, you should be returning something. So if you are not returning, even if your app is running, let's say, and you are not returning anything, it should show a blank page. Are you returning something?
in previous session I tried, so I found like blank page. So
No, no. So let's talk about this only. So you take this code, uh, use this code, and then see if you if you have any doubt, because I don't know what you have done in the previous session. So maybe there is some maybe little bit uh, wrong syntax is given, maybe that's why it is returning a blank page. Two cases can be there. If you're using, if you're not running your app, it can show you a blank page and it says that, and you won't be able to go to that page. Otherwise it can be possibility where you're returning a empty thing, or you're not returning anything, you're just printing it. It can be that case. So it's like that. Or you are returning only a empty string. That can also be a thing. Or a only empty HTML, something like that. So there can be a many possibility. Try to use this code and check if you are able to do it or not, and then tell me.
okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Now we have understood Flask, Jinja, and all. But now,
Sir, can I give a try for that 500 error?
yeah, sure, sure, sure. Tell me.
So maybe you have to remove, like for example, in the line number 15, just remove one variable that is passed. User maybe, yeah, name equals users. Remove it and also remove a comma. Yeah.
Okay. Now I should be
If you
getting a 500.
okay. Okay, so then I will give it a try. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Now, so till this point, we have understood Flask, Jinja. This has been already done. Now, in the starting of this session, I talked about SQL, the relational databases. They are like you have rows, you have column, you have indexes to call them and then get the data from them. You can call the table itself and then get the data from it. These things you know. I expect you know. Uh, Now, so SQL is there, but we have to learn many things in that. You have to learn how to write query in that, and then it will be a little overwhelming, and it will be a little hard to understand everything in that. And it will be a new course. We call it a database management system. So you don't have to go there. To keep ourselves in this course, we will be using something similar to SQL, but it is not completely in that query language. It will be much simpler, which is particularly called as SQLAlchemy. And SQLAlchemy works with SQLite 3, and SQLite 3 is a database. So it is a file which has the stored data in it, it has row, column, and some data. So let's see how it looks first. This is SQLite. So in this instance folder, we have some files called first.db, players.db. So let's see players.db here. And this is how it should be looking like. You have a column called ID, you have a column called runs, and you have few rows as well. So this is a format of relational database, and what or where you are storing is your SQLite 3 database. It can be in extension called .db, or it can be in extension of SQLite 3, SQLite 2, or SQL. So it will able to understand. The storage is done in SQLite, but the queries or whatever the code will be written will be done in SQLAlchemy. Have you understood what I said? Storage in SQLite 3 or SQLite 3 databases, but the calling, addition, or writing code will be done by SQLAlchemy. Anyone has doubt what I said? Hopefully no. Okay. So now, uh, still, if we, before going ahead, still we have a little problem here. Problem is SQLAlchemy provides many databases same kind of a resolution what it provides to us in terms of this SQLite and all. So multiple databases are there. Postgres, which you are working in DBMS, SQLite is there, MySQL is there. So multiple are there, and they have different formatting of connecting to the database. Flask, on other hand, has its own kind of formatting for SQLAlchemy that can uh, that can be mapped to the database. When I say mapped, this is an important word to understand. The map means it is mapping some content or the code to the particular relational database. It is also called as object relational mapper or mapping. ORM. Object, which is the data, how the data will be given to the mapper, and then that mapper will get the data from that object and store it in the database. So the format which is they are talking in is an object format. This object format is typically associated with, maybe you can understand it like JavaScript. So you have curly braces. In Python, you can understand it like a dictionary. You have key value pair written over there. Dictionary can have multiple dictionary inside that. So something like that you can just understand. Try to just pick it from there. So this is kind of an object which you should be dealing with. You don't have to worry too much about it because Flask itself provides a library which is called Flask SQLAlchemy. From that library, you can just call SQLAlchemy, and then you can write a simple English sentence which can do the queries behind the scene. So you will just write, let's say your table name is user, and you have to maybe search for, let's say, username sk. So you will do uh, user dot query name equal to sk and dot all or dot first. So it will just give it to you. So this is a simple sentence which you should be writing in the code, and it will give you the data. You don't have to write a complex query. Let's say you have to write select something from where, you have to join, inner join, outer join, this and that, so many things. You don't have to do that. So you will be using just an English simple sentence, and you should be able to do it. Matter of fact, yeah. So you have to, one thing in your mind should be, still you have to understand how it should be working, but it will be easier than the full SQL queries. One suggestion would be, if you are good with SQL queries, you can use SQL queries in the project. Not in this course, but in the project, you are allowed to do that. So we are not stopping you from that. But for this course, try to use SQLAlchemy ORM. Okay. Till this point, anyone has doubt? Hope. Are you with me? No, you have not understood anything.
Sir, in the DBMS course, we are using this Postgres SQL and then the
Yes.
SQL language to extract data and do all the sort of manipulation. So what we are saying is Flask will not support Postgres SQL, or it will support, but we are not trying to use a heavyweight Postgres SQL. We are just trying to use a lightweight alchemy, SQL alchemy, and then there's a lightweight database behind that. Is that what I mean? I'm just trying to
Yes.
understand.
Yes. Yes. So Postgres particularly can take the data, but it will require a full-fledged application to use it. So PG admin you will
Yeah,
be using will
right,
see
right,
the data. If you are not using it, it will be very hard for you to use the terminal and see the everything, query this and that, tables and all.
correct.
So SQLite is particularly a small database, not small, it can take many data, but it is easier for you to store in a file and see it in the terminal or see it in the VS Code itself. It is easier for you to work with that.
Okay,
Postgres, on the other hand, you have to work with a full-fledged uh, tar file, or you have to create a full network of database and then you have to work with that. This
sure.
particular DB file will be stored in this manner only. So it is easier for you to work with. Okay, so this is the main reason. So for the simplicity, we are using.
Yeah,
But
okay,
yes, we can use Postgres, MySQL. We can connect. Their code will be different. We have to connect. We have to use cursor and all. If you have not done DBMS yet fully, in week 7 you should be able to do the same thing. So you will connect. You will use the cursor, and then after the cursor is done, then you will stop it there. So there is some other code which you will be using. Here
okay,
you don't have to do that thing.
sure. No.
Okay. So now let's talk about, so in the content what I have said, why SQL Alchemy over SQLite, you can just read these things. I have just said whatever I have said, it is given here. So let's come back here. Uh, what we have to do after this. So we have seen this file. Let's do this. So till this point, we are able to work with our Flask app. But now to work with SQL Alchemy, you have to install it. So this is the second installation we are doing. So pip install Flask SQL Alchemy. Go ahead and do that. This is globally installing. If you are familiar with your uh, virtual environment, you can use it, but it is not suggested to this point. You don't have to install anything further than this. So only two things: Flask and Flask SQL Alchemy. So if I do this, if it is already installed, it will just say requirement already satisfied. If it is not installed, it will install it for me. Now, because we are done with installing, same procedure what we had done for the Flask. What should we do now after this? Anyone can tell? What we have
Import
done
the import the SQL Alchemy from Flask.
from Flask, or Flask SQL Alchemy, because we have installed this.
Flask
From
SQL.
Flask SQL.
Yeah. So in the next line from Flask, so it will be little different. So you have to use underscore, and here you have used this dash in between, hyphen or whatever it is called. So now from this you will call SQL Alchemy. Done. So what we have done in the previous one, in the whenever we were doing the Flask one, we have created an instance. Do you think something similar will happen here as well? Yes, no. No? Yes?
I think the way we created app equal to Flask name, we have to create one database, I think.
Yes, correct. So we will create db equal to and the Flask, because we have called Flask SQLAlchemy, we will write that. But because this database should be connected to the Flask app, we have to write app as well. So this variable. So if the variable name changes here, we will change here as well. So this should connect. Okay, so something like that. So this is our now DB is our instance now for database. So whatever we will be doing related to database or DB, we have to write now DB dot something. Just like we were writing app dot route or app dot run or app dot something. So similarly, DB dot something. But one thing is there, because this file, this particular database should be stored somewhere. So we have to configure it in some format. We have to maybe create a pointer where we have to store it. So before creating the variable, we might have to write something called app dot config, and this is suggesting itself. So configure for the configuration, you have to write config here. You can create any other file for this as well, but we will be keeping it here for the simplicity. One code you have to remember is, or if it is called code or not. So you have to remember is SQLAlchemy database URI. This should be the thing. Normally, it's the VS Code itself suggests you, but yeah. So you should be remembering this, and after that, because this is a URI of SQLite, you have to write SQLite colon and then 3 slashes, and after that, whatever the file name you want to write. SQLite colon 3 slashes and then the file name. So I'll just do the tab, and this is my code. I can just replace it with maybe sep.db. Hope you have got the thing what I've said till this point.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, sorry to interrupt. Sir, from when did we start week 5 content? Did we just start? This is week 5, right? Or is
Yeah,
because
this session is fully about week 5 only.
sir, we were doing revision previously, right? That's why I'm asking.
No. That was a build up. I didn't wanted to make you clueless that what I'm talking about directly coming to this.
Got it.
It can be said as revision as well. So yeah.
Could you just explain the SQL alchemy part once more? Sir? I joined, couldn't. I missed a chunk of it. That's why.
Okay, so I just talked about it. We have to install it by this name. So Flask SQLAlchemy. Because we have to work with Flask, that's why we will directly talk to a Flask SQLAlchemy library, and then it will talk to ORM called SQLAlchemy. That ORM will help us write the code in the behind the scene. It will write the code for us in the query language, but we have to write it in the English language. So this is how SQL will come to the picture. And after that, I've just said we will import that Flask SQL alchemy similar to what we have done in Flask, and then we have to create a similar kind of variable called DB and then SQL alchemy. You have to connect this SQL alchemy with the app called Flask, whatever the variable name is. If we change the variable to app1, we have to change it here. Now to store the data in some particular format or file, you have to create a configuration called in line number 7. So this is the code which you should be remembering. Flask SQL alchemy database URI, and then SQLite colon triple slashes and the file name. So this is what just covered.
Sir, what was ORM you mentioned just now?
Object relational mapper. So SQL alchemy is a ORM. So here you can just read about it, how it works. So this is particularly uh, a phase where you will just tell in English language that this should be done, and this will write a query for you, and do the stuff whatever it has to do in SQL and store it in your database.
So
So this
where is the database? Is it connected with Python? Where is the
we are
data?
creating this database, line number 7. We are creating this database DB file. We'll
Okay.
be using this as our database.
S-
SQLite 3 is the database which we are using.
Got it. And .db, like .csv, .html, .db is for
CSV should not be there. You should not use CSV. Otherwise, it will be a CSV file mostly. DB is the formally we should be using. Otherwise, you can use .SQLite extension, SQLite 2, SQLite 3, SQL or anything. It won't create any impact. So don't confuse yourself by using CSV or any predefined extension. DB would be a good idea to use. So
got it.
like that. Even if you don't give any extension, it should work. It is fine. Just a name you're just calling. Okay.
Sir, quick question here.
Yeah.
Line number 7 is actually creating a physical database, whereas line number 10, where we are saying DB is equal to SQLAlchemy app, is basically linking that physical database sf.db to a virtual pointer DB, and it's linking to the app. Is that my understanding right, or is there something
Yeah.
else?
So this SQL Alchemy will create an instance with this particular app. Now, because this app has configured the database URI or maybe the file name, whatever we will call after this line number 10 for DB, this DB will store the data in this particular file.
Okay.
So
So
this is connected to 10, line number 10 is connected to 5. And because before this DB, we have just said that this is our file where we should be storing the data. It will understand, and because the configuration has already happened, it will use this particular file. This line number 10 will use line number 7. Right.
So all the data will be stored in the SQLite // sep.db.
The
That
file name would be only sep.db because this is a URI, not a URL or not a
oh,
any
okay. So
other formatting. That's why we have to specify the
you just
file name.
okay.
Before that, we have to write that this file should be associated with SQLite formatting.
Okay, sir. So
Just
sir,
like you use this. So here you write uh, go so HTTPS. That means it should work on internet or browser only. So similar to that, this URI is like that.
got
So
it.
it will be storing the data. Yeah.
Sir, and SQLAlchemy underscore data.
Sorry. Uh,
So the sep.dp, where it is created, sir? Physically, it's in the same folder where sep.py is there, or
yeah, it should be created inside instance folder. So
okay.
this folder should be
Oh, okay,
created
okay.
whenever we run this file. So right now we have not run it, so
Yeah,
that's why it is not there. But yeah, so whenever we run it and say that yeah, this is the file name, it should be here in the instance folder.
instance folder. Okay.
Yes, it will automatically
Sir,
create an instance folder here if it is not there in your
Sure. Okay.
browser.
sir, why are we using before the config? Why are we using app in the
Uh,
app.config line?
why are we using line number 7 or 5? You are saying
No, sir. In the app.config, why are we using app before the config?
to make a configuration with the app. There are multiple things. So you can uh, work with any other formatting or any other way of talking to the database by using configuration. So it can talk to SQL Alchemy ORM directly by creating a configuration so that it can understand whenever we are working with this app should have a database called this. So this code is really the catch here. So it should be written as this only. Otherwise, it won't understand. So this configuration is happening like that. Just like you do configuration in your phone setting, right? So if you have to work with 5G internet, you configure that only. You don't uh, configure with 4G internet, right? So you configure your particular phone setting to work with that only. So something like that you can understand. Hope.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, if the DB is already present with that name, like it will make use of the existing
Yeah,
DB.
it will make use of it. Yes. If
Uh,
it is not there, it will create a new one, or if it is there, it should use that.
okay, got it. Every time it will not reset, right? Like whenever we rerun this app, uh, it will not happen, right?
It should not create it. If it is there, it will use that one.
Okay.
But there are codes as well. So if you want to use drop.all, that will that will be one more extra step to not use the previous one and create the new one and use it. Something like drop all can be used. Otherwise, it will just ignore it if it is already there. So something like that.
Okay. Right.
Okay. Any other question till this point? Anyone?
Sir, quick one is if you compare line number 7 and
Hmm.
line number 14, I think, sorry, 13.
Hmm.
So in both cases, we are calling some sort of a routine, sort of a function of related to app.config, app.root.
Hmm. Hmm.
Whereas in the app.config, there was no at the rate. Whereas so basically, when you're trying to call a function type of thing, you use at the rate. And here in the app.config, we are just using a sort of a array indexing or something.
Hmm.
Is it
Hmm.
a syntaxing?
So yeah, so both are different things. So to make our Python function that we want to work with you, we use a decorator. So this decorator is particularly this at the rate app.route.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so this is called a decorator. So decoration works like this. So you
Okay.
write at the rate and then use it. And if you're directly configuring something, you're just
Okay.
have a code already given to you that this should be there
Hmm.
like this, then you can just configure with that and tell it what you want from that. So here, first one is SQLAlchemy database URI. There can be multiple instances where, let's say, it is too early to talk about Celery and Redis,
Hmm.
but there, if you want to work with some other databases, some other relational database, some other
Hmm. Hmm.
RAM-based database, or some
Okay.
other logical database, you have to configure it with that. Otherwise, it won't understand or it won't create a URI or URL for you. So you have to connect it. So the configuration helps there. And this route is particularly about that file only. So this function should be able to understand this decorator is there for that.
Okay.
That's why at the
Thanks.
rate is.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So this is the basic idea where we will start off with. So one thing is, if we use line number 7 after line number 10, it might not work because it won't know where to store the data in. Okay, so DB won't work. So try it out for by yourself and see if it is working in there or not. Okay, let's move on ahead. Uh, Something like this. So before coming to this part, I will show you one more thing. So this line number 3, sorry, creating model pointer 3. Before coming to that, I will show you one file called, not this. Mm, these are the file which I have used in the previous terms. Yeah. So here you can see, you can see with app.app context. I'm building a context here. This is third kind of connection happening here. So this is the new thing which has happened in the recent few years. While I have started off with Flask. We didn't have to do this kind of building context. Now it is there. We just had to write db.creator. So this was the only thing. So to not use it, this one app dot context, you can use something like this. two different things are happening here. So in this particular function, I am writing db dot drop all, and then I'm saying drop all means it will drop the tables whatever is there in the particular instance folder, and then it says db dot create all, the new table it should be creating, and then it should add something. So db dot session add all or add, and at the end it is committing. So these are the four command you should be telling to the db so that it can do something. So this is one of the ways, but it will be working only when you have called this slash setup underscore db. That means if you have run your particular app, it will not create the database until you will call this URL, line number 17. Okay, and this with app.app context will work even if you don't call it, and whenever you run your file for the first time, or your app for the first time. Hope you got the analogy what I wanted to make. So two different ways of creating the table, but both will work on separate situations. If you want to use let's say inside a function, that is also good. If you want to use outside a function whenever your app is running, that is also good. Any questions in this point what I wanted to make?
Sir, could you scroll up a bit, sir?
In which thing?
No, right hand side, yes. Sir, from class, could you just explain briefly again? I couldn't.
Yeah, we have not talked about that. We will come to that.
From
Before that, yeah, two ways of creating the table. So
got it.
this and this. Okay, so wherever you want to use, you can use any of them. Both are correct. Both are okay to use. Now, before creating the table, you should have a table itself. A table particularly means which format do you want, how the thing should be in your table. You should be telling to the code that this is what I wanted and how it should be shown in the table. Okay. To do that, till this point we have understood, we have created a DB instance. Now we will be using this DB instance all throughout. So whenever we have to talk about tables, we have to use it. So because this particular Python Flask works in a Python coding format, you have to create a class there, not a function, but a class. That class is called as the table. So class and the name what you will be using. So this is a Python code only. So you'll be using user, and then to make this class a model or a table, you have to write db dot capital M model. Okay, so this is how you can do something similar to your Python as well. You can also use inside this class. You can use def or the function, but we won't be going there. We will be just be using variable, and this should behave like our column in our database. So how it should be? So you can see ID here. ID is one of the variable. So this is our column for this particular table or model. Then when we have to make the this table understand that this is a model, we have to write db dot capital C column. Okay, now we have to make it understand that it should be an integer, so we'll be writing as db dot integer. And if you know about primary key formatting in the dbms course, this should be our primary key, first one, ID. Even if you don't give this as a primary key, your SQLAlchemy or SQLite will understand the first instance or integer instance as a primary key only, even if you don't give it. So it will understand. So primary key equal to true. It will not be written as db dot integer because this is a variable you're writing here. Okay. Hope you got the context. Now the second one is username. Uh, Similar db.column. Because this username should be a string, we can just write db.string, and then how many characters? It can take 50 characters or any number you can just write there. And we want this to be unique, so that's why we are writing unique equal to 2, and we don't want this to be empty, so that's why nullable equal to false. So these things, whatever is written here, can be seen in the documentation how it should be working. You can just search on Google for SQL Flask SQLAlchemy documentation. There you should be able to see these things if you need furthermore. So these are the basic thing which you should be using.
Sir, so basically what you just explained is creating a schema in equivalent terms for
Correct. Yes, you
SQL.
can understand like that. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So this is what we have. So we can just go ahead and see that. Let's go to our code. We have not used this, but let's try to use it. Right now, uh, yeah. So right now we have came to this point, line number 10, 9 maybe. So what we have to do is we have to follow a order, right? So first app should be created, then configuration with the file, and then we have to create a DB instance. After that, we have to create a model table class, whatever you want to say. So I will do Control plus V. I've just copied this part from here to here. And after that only I can create a context so that it can understand that we have a table, we have a table formatting, we have a SQLAlchemy working with us, and then it should create the table for us. This is one way. The other way, let's see the other one. Okay, so here, if you would see, uh, this is the file. Ignore this one; it is not required now because it is automatically false by default. So it won't track the modification what is happening in the SQLAlchemy. Everything is almost similar. Func, I'll just remove it. These two line, app configuration DB, and then there is some class written over here, and after that this is the formatting. So let's see. First, let's try to. I guess I have to delete the file name is players.db. So if I delete it here, so you don't have this file right now. I will run this particular file called SQL app. You can also use that. It is there in the GitHub. So I will use Python. I'll first do this. One second. Okay. Python SQL, not this. So this is what I'm running. You can see here in the instance, you don't have any file called players.db. What do you think? Will it create the DB or no? See the code here.
It won't create the DB.
Yeah, so it shouldn't create the DB because we are not creating the context outside this function. So if I just run this, it should not do anything in related to the database. If I go to this URL, then this 20th line should be called. So if I just go here and use that, yeah, I guess, yeah, setup.db. Now you can see DB is there. So because I have just commented this line, it is throwing error. But anyway, so this is your DB created. One more thing to notice that I have said create all, and after that I am adding these data points. So to add the data points, you have to write something. So because the name of this particular class was this player stats, something like that. So I will be using that, and I have to give the rows detail. So rows detail would be ID and runs, because here in line number 13 and 14 we have that. Okay, so I have to do that. Now, because this add all has been already given and it has been committed, line number 28, you will be able to see it in the database. Okay, so it is already there. Hope you got the thing. So what I wanted to say, yeah.
Sir, sir, when you create the class player stats, we are creating a table, kind of table player stats. After that, in app.root, is db drop all and db create all? I didn't get that part. And is it necessary to use it over there?
Yes, it is necessary. So this line is not necessary. You can ignore it because there is no table called players.db previously. If it is there, it will just drop that and it will create. So create all is the important thing. Whenever you are working for the first time, it should be used so that you can create a table, and then after that you can store the data. Otherwise, if you don't use create all, it will not create anything, and you will get an error because there is no table to be stored the data in.
Sir, but we didn't write player stats anywhere in app.root before create all. So, uh, sir, what is how is players.db and player stats connected?
How is the players.db and
Player stats, the class player stats.
this is the table name and this is the file name, this database file name. You can have multiple table inside this database db players.db. So it can have users table, it can have players table, it can have many tables inside this db called players.db. So if you come from dbms, so let's say if you have worked with university database, right?
Right, yes, sir.
A university database is the name of the database, but
Right.
inside that university you have maybe college student's name, professor's name,
Yes,
and
sir.
something like that. There are multiple tables in that particular university
Right,
database.
right.
So something similar. So players.db has playerstat table. There can be other table as well.
Got it, sir. And db player stat in class player stats db model. What does db model mean?
This is because this class is coming from Python class, right?
Right,
To make this particular class to understand we are dealing with database or SQLAlchemy DB, we
right.
have to write db.models to make it as a table and to make these 13th line and 14th line to work as a column and row formatting.
So, could you summarize all these things shortly?
Yeah. I will come to that only. So now this is one of the ways which you can do. The other would
So,
be,
sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. Like, I have a question here. Like, should we every time explicitly commit to the DB, or else it won't store automatically? Is it?
Yeah, correct. So that's why I said in the starting itself that we should be get familiar with the GitHub analogy and GitHub.
Okay.
What we do is in GitHub, till the time you commit any instance, your work is not being saved, something like that. Okay, so you can add the details, but it should be committed. It should be written that db.commit. This session should be committed. Otherwise, it won't understand. So even if you do add all or add only, it won't understand and don't store it in the database. So let's try it out. Let's say, so if I just stop it here, I don't use commit and I delete this database. and Control plus C, and again run this app and go to this particular URL. Hope, yeah. So this is what it should do.
Okay, right.
So it is not committing any particular data in it because it was not said to be committed.
Okay,
It is just getting this, but yeah, it this addition will be stayed here in this particular function because this is a Python function. It won't ignore it. It is fine, but it won't be given to the database to be added. It will. So yeah, it is a very good question to be asked here, so that you can also understand. So see, when I say add all, it should stay in this particular function and it should return something. This return statement will work, print statement will work, but this will not add in this database.
okay, got
Okay.
it. Yeah. And one more question, is there any order in which the table gets created? Because if we are going to add foreign keys, right, like some of the table should be created earlier before referencing it. So if we are going to write all the classes, is there any order in which the tables are going to get created?
Um, for normal classes, that means for let's say one to many, many to one kind of relationship, it is not there. But when you are working with many to many kind of relationship, and you are working with a secondary table where only the IDs are stored and both the parties are using that, you have to use it in the starting so that it can understand. So this will come in the next session in next week, where we'll talk about many to many relationships. The example is given in this one of the file which you can see, I guess. So yeah, so this is how it should be done. So in the starting it should be there, and then after that the normal classes or the model should be defined. So this is for many to many, where you should be focusing.
Okay, got it. So it will be in the order which we write the code, right? Like that will be created first.
Yeah, so this secondary table should be created first. Otherwise, these two table won't be able to understand how the relationship is happening, or the secondary table or back referencing is happening.
Okay, right.
So this is the only thing which you should be remembering. So about the foreign key.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Okay. Others don't worry too much about it. We're not going there. We are still here. SQL app and SEP. Till this point, I believe you are able to understand that two or three
Sir,
codes which we have to. Yeah.
sir, with app.app underscore context, instead of that, we are using at the rate app dot route setup underscore db. These are the two ways to setting up the table. No?
Yeah, there are two ways. This is one of the ways, and the other one is there. But there are few others as well. So let's say uh, you don't want to use with. You just want to use, let's say, app.app context. You can use it. That's fine. Uh, I have, I guess, written in one of the files about this. Give me a second. Yeah. So either you can use this with app.app context, or because this app context works like a stack. If you remember or know about stack data structure, it can, so the context can be pushed or context can be popped out. So that is one of the other ways which you can use. So I have written here, so you can see you can push and pop app context manually. The code would be app.app-context.push to create the context and pop to remove the context. This width is also coming from the Python course itself, because this width will do both the thing automatically, pushing and popping out. Whenever it has created the database, it will just pop out the existing context, and it will give it to you. The database will be given to you, and you can work with it. But here you have to, whenever you want to work with push and pop, you have to explicitly tell that now the database creation is done. Please go ahead and pop out the stack from it. So these are the two ways, and the other way would be just directly call db.createAll and not create any context. So totally three ways. Hope you got what I said.
Sir, in the app underscore contest, we have to give app dot contents dot push every time, and in db dot create all, we don't have to do that.
You have to do it because you start off with this app context dot post, then you have to write db dot create all, and then you can work with the code. But you have to, at any point you have to stop it. You have to pop out the particular context when you are ready, or sorry, you are done with the creation of the table. You have to pop it out. Here you don't have to do both the things. You can just write with and it will do automatically. But you have to write db.creator.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So till this point we are here. We have seen how to create the table, but for this file it is yet to be done. Now, when I run this particular file, so you can see the code here. When I run this sep.py file, do you think a database will be created here? Anyone?
Yes, sir, it should be.
Okay, so if I enter this, it should be creating a table or database, or yeah, database instance SQLite, uh, called as, you should have a table in that user table which has column ID and username, but it should be empty instance for now. So yeah, it creates a table called user. One thing to remember, even though, because this is Python, so even though you write capital U and then it is a user, your SQLAlchemy ORM will convert it to small uh, user. U will be smaller, or not the capital one. So this should be in your mind. But whenever you are calling or working with this user table inside the Python file, you will call by this name. So user should be called user dot something, user dot add, user dot delete, and all. So this should be in your mind. But here the table will be in small case. So this is the convention which SQLAlchemy or SQL follows. Hopefully you know about that. Now what I have to do is I have to write or add some detail in these ID and username. What do you think should I do maybe in this function to add the details? Uh, you have seen one of the files doing the same thing, so something like this. There is something called db.session. Okay, so if I do maybe like this, and yeah, so I have to write db.session to add something or to delete or anything about that. So db, why I'm writing db? Anyone? Why I'm writing db?
Sir, it is
Because
a
we
web.
have created an instance of SQL Alchemy in
Welcome.
DB.
Yes. Yeah. So now we know that whenever we want to do something related to SQLAlchemy or the SQLite, we have to write db. And for this particular session, we have to do something. So I will write session, and then because I have to add only one instance, I would just write add, and then what I have to add here. So I have to add to this particular user class which you are seeing here. So I will write user, and then uh, so I can write ID and username both, but the primary key or the first column of this particular class, it will be auto incremented. So we don't have to write explicitly 1 or 2 or 3. It will be auto incremented, but still I will be doing that. So let's say id equal to 1 comma, and then because I have a column name as username, I would be writing that, and then let's say yeah, test user. So this is our code which we have. This should add the detail in our table. Uh, let's say I want to add one more thing. So db dot session dot I have to add. Okay, so add, this time I would not write id. I would just give username equal to, yeah, so second user. Very interesting. This time I'm not giving id. Now, do you think this will work, or I will get any error? Anyone?
I think this should work because it will auto increment, right?
Yeah. Okay. Uh, and after that, because this is adding something, but I have to add it in the database. To do that, I will be writing db, but again session, because this session is adding something. So session dot commit. Okay. Now my assumption is I would get two instances or two rows in my table called sep.db, which has id 1 test user, and then the second user should be there, and id should be incremented to 2. This is what I feel. Now I will just run this particular app, Python. I'll just clear it for once. Python sep.py. Because my table is already there, it it will not harm. These two lines won't harm because already we have, the table already created. It will do nothing, and it will just move on. I will go to this slash names, and let's see what it does. Okay, so yeah, it because this is the same thing. Let's see in the database something has happened or not. So yeah, so this is the file. Uh, what do you think has happened? There's nothing in the table.
So we need to refresh.
Yeah, good. So when we refresh, if you come across this kind of thing, try to refresh at least so that you can get the data. So this is which has been stored. Now let's try to do one thing. So have you understood till this point what we have done? Any doubts?
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, can you go to that app page, app.py?
Yeah.
So over there, you have written with app dot, uh, yeah,
App
line
context.
number 15.
Yes.
Sir, usually while creating a connection to SQL, we use this with clause, but there we say with connection dot open. Hello.
Yeah. Are you talking about Flask SQLAlchemy
Sir,
or
normal
generally?
SQL.
Yeah, that is different. Yes, that is
Uh,
not that.
Sir, usually what we do is we create a connection using with clause, and
Yeah,
after that
we
we
create
write
a
the
cursor and then we have to stop it and this and that.
yes,
We
sir.
are not going there. Yeah, to
Sir,
make
so
things simpler. Yeah,
the same thing is being done by app under context over
same
here.
thing is done by SQLAlchemy, I would say. So when we created this line number 9, where we have said SQLAlchemy should now be worked as an instance of DB. this is handling all those things. It is creating a connection, it is creating a cursor, it is stopping it, and all. So everything is done by the SQL Alchemy ORM. We just have to give a English statement to it that these are the things which you should be doing. That's it. So that is where it is doing a little bit lesser work in terms of adding some data to the table or creating the table or anything related to SQL.
Sir, so what exactly this app underscore context is executing, sir? Have we written any config for this?
Yeah. So previously, in Flask, whenever we had to create a table in SQLite and working with SQL Alchemy ORM, uh, we had to just write db.create all so that it can create the table. But later in few years, because the uh, it was vulnerable to just create the table and try to understand. That's why they have just changed the nuances here. And whenever we have to create a table, we have to write this command to make it a context basis, and it should work for this particular app only, not for the others. And it automatically create this folder also. So instance folder is created, and this table will work only. So it will create a table only. Previously, it was not creating any instance folder. Flask SQL Alchemy 3, I guess it is not now there. In 2, it was not creating any instance folder. It was not using any context to build. To change that formatting and to make it little safer, they have used this kind of writing, and also they have created a folder itself whenever we have called the create all command. So something like that has happened. It has changed, evolved from the previous versions. That's why we have to use it. It is not a convention to follow.
Sir, so basically, whatever model we have written in this particular file, that will become the part of that app context, and based on that, all tables will be created.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is what we have. One thing I wanted to check here is, let's say if I write 2 here, and I delete this particular table for now. Or no, let's not delete it. I've changed the ID to 2, and here I have the table. First, tell me, what do you think will happen? Will it give me a error, or what do you think will happen? So I have,
So the primary key has already been used, so it should give error.
okay. So let's try this. So I'll just go here and refresh this page. Yeah, because the first error it should give, because we have set it to be unique. What is the unique one? The primary key should be unique. It should check for this one ID, and because it is already there, it should give us a integrity error. So let's say now I change this. Okay, hope you have seen the error here. What it is saying? Constraint failed, user ID. Primary key should be unique. This is the first one it is checking. Hope you got it, why it is giving error. First error. Any doubts? Yes, no? Nobody is saying anything. Okay. Okay, so should I stop here, or
Sir,
Fine, sir. You can proceed.
yeah? So see here, this ID is the error. Let's fix it. Let's say I will change it to 3. Now what do you think will happen? Still
There will
it
not
will
be any error.
be,
No error.
won't be error. Okay. Uh, yeah. So let's see what it does. It is still the same error, but it is now saying username. Why? Because we have written it here. Previously, because ID was a primary key, it should be unique. And because we have written in the second line that this particular column should be unique, so that's why it is giving the same ID. So keep in your mind whenever you are working with the code, keep in mind that these are the things which you should notice first. Let's say I do one more thing. So I will now delete the table. Yeah. So if I am running my app, I will try to delete my database. It should not allow me to delete. Or if it is in work somewhere, it should not allow me to delete. So this is you should be knowing. So if I do Control plus C, and now let's try to delete it maybe. So it should delete. Now after this what? So if I run this app, now tell me what are you expecting in the database. So these are the two lines written over here. User ID equal to 3, username test user, and then there is no ID. What do you think will be there in the database?
3 test user, 4
3 and then 4.
Okay. So let's see and refresh this. Yeah. So because we have started off with 3, it will auto increment after that only. It will add up one more. So this is what you should be knowing. Yeah, so we'll not go further ahead, I guess. We have 5 minutes. Okay, we can go.
Sir, can you please repeat the delete part again?
Delete part.
The
Which delete?
database you are
Oh, okay.
deleting.
So whenever you are running your app, so right now you can see in the terminal, this your app is running, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you cannot delete your DB file because it is working in the app. If you stop this app, let's say, then only you can delete your DB file. Otherwise, it will not be able to delete. So this thing many students have faced difficulty in. So that's why I just wanted to cover it. Got it or no?
Got it.
Sir,
Okay.
next session on next instructor session, will it be revision or week
Revision, I guess. Yes, revision session.
revision?
Yeah. Just one thing before just completing this one. So uh, do the mock which you have in the portal itself. Do all the questions of mock. It will be helpful for you in the exam. So this is one advice I would give you. And the number system guy who was asking, don't focus too much about that. It's one of the other advice I would give. Okay, let's do one thing. I'll just
Sir,
talk
can
about,
you
yeah.
give a quick revision of the things that you have discussed?
Yeah, before that, I would also like to give you two commands which you should be hopefully using. Yeah, so this command maybe so Control plus C, let's say. This is your homework, I would say. Just try to maybe do it. Yeah, so this is a query. Whenever you want all the details from the table, let's say because we have a user table, you have to write user dot query, and you want all the details, then you will be using all. So this is one of the command. The other command would be user, let's say, yeah, users. If you want to filter it out, you want a specific thing to be given, then you can use user.query.filter by and user name equal to something, and then whatever. So you will get an object. As I said, you will get an object. To make it a only one instance, you have to write dot first. Okay, so these are the two commands you should be knowing. And after this, there are multiple things: update, delete, and all. We'll discuss in the next week for that point. So, okay. So just to give a quick recap, while I'll just run this particular URL also. What we have done in this session is we have started off with creating a uh, build up upon how Flask app works and how Jinja works along with that. Because Jinja was not able to provide a full structured database, it was just providing us a uh, only variable based thing or list of few things which we have to write multiple times and all. So that's why we came from there to a SQL kind of databases. SQL language we have learned, try to learn, but SQL language itself is a little cumbersome task to do, and it will take a little bit more time to understand. So that's why we just focused mostly upon how to make it easier for ourselves. So we came after that to a ORM called SQLAlchemy, uh, because we were working with the Flask, and we have seen that Flask also provides a SQLAlchemy kind of database or the language which we wanted in an English language setup. So we worked with Flask SQLAlchemy. Well, we have started off with how it should be instantiated. It is similar to Flask. How it should be adding data to the table and how data should be created. So these are the code which we have discussed, and along with that, the build up upon how uh, different formatting can work to create the databases and also add the data. One thing we have seen that even though we have done adding some part to the database, but it should be committed. So this is the main thing whenever we are working with this kind of setup. So these are the things which we have done. Flask, Jinja, and after that, if Jinja was not too much comfortable with maybe hundreds of rows, we came to SQL. After that, we have seen that ORM is also there, SQLAlchemy. Then we have seen SQL Flask SQLAlchemy can provide us little better English language kind of formatting. That's why Flask SQLAlchemy. And we have started off with creating the instance of table and then working with the same kind of uh, database session and committing relationship. And this is how we can query the data from the table itself. So this is about this session.
Sir, regarding today's session, week 5, you posted a Git link on in the messages. Could you guide us through how will through the Git link? How will we access all the week 5's what we discussed today?
Yeah, okay, yes. Till this point, you can see in this VS Code, M means this is modified. This is not tracked yet. That means you won't be able to see it in the GitHub. Uh, yeah, something like this. So I would do one thing. I will stop this particular uh, app. Right now we have this instance folder, templates folder, and this particular inside this app, and other things are already there. So I'll just do one thing. I will use git command. So git add, just like SQL, git add. I will do dot, enter. After this, I will do git commit m, new files added. I will do commit. Now these files have been committed. Now I have to do git push origin main. So this should push whatever is there in this particular local repo to my GitHub repo. If I come here, these are the files which you can see when I refreshed. Now. So these have been committed just recently. You can use this file.
Got it, sir. Sir, regarding the nodes, like theory, is the I think SQL alchemy nodes, is that sufficient? Is that the complete week 5?
Not really, but yeah, these are the things which you should be focusing more on. Yeah.
So
So
SQL, so for a comprehensive view of week 5, with the SQL alchemy nodes, what would you recommend?
see, how I teach is I come to this particular MD doc. So here I have, okay, so this is little taking a little bit time. So here I have all the things what I wanted to cover. It looks like this. So these are the things you should be at least read through. So this is a very long formatting which you can see and try to understand how the things are working. Even though I will be covering these things, but you can read through these things. So this is important in terms of whenever you want to learn about relationship, how it works, how the code written inside that works, and you have to do the task in related to project. So you can just
Right.
refer to this. If you just want to go through or just give a glance of it, you can go to notes.
Got it, sir. So
That is a simpler thing.
so SQL.md is the complete guide for Flask and SQL alchemy, which is week 4 and 5.
Yes. Yes.
Week 4 and 5. So okay,
Yeah.
got it. Got it. Thank you.
And this curl basic, you have studied about curl command in week 1, but I would advise you two things. Oh, okay. There is some issue with the GitHub server. I would advise you, let's go to here. So I would advise you to go through these commands uh, because it can be helpful in terms of quiz. What you should be knowing, at least line number 6 you have send data with post. Yeah, 7th.
Sir, could you once revise? I completely forgot about what curl commands are and
Yeah, in the first week, sir, professor was using curl command to run the server, or he was just calling a method and then doing some task over there. So here you were using only a Flask app, right? So you were using this command. So when you do this, so and you refresh this particular, let's say here in this page, whenever you refresh, that means you're calling a get method, right? And if you do refresh, you will see here get and the status code here. Similarly, you can use curl command not by going to browser. You can just write it in the terminal using curl /x get and all. It will do the same task over here in the terminal by just calling it using curl command. CURL, you can just understand
so
from that
running the server on the browser instead
terminal.
of going to the browser, we can do it
Yeah.
from terminal with curl. Sir,
Yes.
could you explain the curl command, sir?
Yeah. That. Okay. It is not being explained in the sessions.
I don't recall, sir. I might have missed it, but
I would advise go ahead, try to see this notes. It is very easier. I have just also given all the commands. You can just do one thing. So copy these commands and
you
open any of the terminal, whatever OS you are using, any of
got
the terminal. And because curl is already installed in your system, you don't have to do anything else. Just
got it.
copy this command, let's say, and run this. Okay, because this is PowerShell, let's go to, I have blocked it. CMD. it should do something. Okay, so I have used this post username, password, this and that. This is giving me some result. So this is just denied. Okay, so this is like that. You can just use it and understand how these things work.
Okay, sir. Regarding the curl commands that we need for the quiz, these will be enough, sir.
Yes, I guess you should be able to understand uh, what command to be used for post, what command should be used for get, and yeah, get put if it is there. Get and post would be enough, I guess.
Got it, sir. Got it.
Yeah, so
Thank
this
you.
is for get and post. At least these basics you should be knowing. How to send data, how to uh, get the get the data, these basic ones. How to send header in that. I guess this should be enough. Not too much deep. How the other hyphen o and v will come. So this can come maybe in end same, but yeah, till this point, get post would be enough.
Sir, can you please once repeat the two types of ways of creating the table?
Uh, this you're saying this one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can just write this command when you are working. Let's say if you want the table to be created before even going to any of the URL, and that means whenever you are running your app, you want to want your table to be created. You have to write this command with app.app context, and then after that db.create all. Let's say if you want to run a URL or run, let's say, this particular function, and then you want a table to be created, then you can use like this. So db.create all, inside it you don't have to build a context there. It will understand that you are creating the table.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Sir,
so
for
yeah.
quiz preparation on Jinja 2, right? Like was prepared with if, for, and those conditionals and some other methods, but in one of the PYQs, I see like macros are introduced, something of that sort.
Will not
So,
ask macro.
okay, got it. So, like basic things which are taught in the AQPQ sessions are sufficient, right?
Yeah, see, one or two surprise question can come. You can expect that, but more than 80% should be what is focused on the live session and given in the PYQs. So this will be like that. One or two question can be a surprise, maybe. I
Okay,
cannot assure you, because sometimes what we cannot repeat same kind of formatting questions, right? So it will be uh, so people will say we are not doing anything. So that's why we have to create new ones. So
got it.
this is the thing. Yeah.
And one other query in this one, like you have mentioned, like we should write user.query.all to get everything. Like, why
Mhm.
are we using the keyword query there? Like, why can't we just get user.all to get everything? And what is the significance of query?
So this is by convention or the method which SQLAlchemy follows. So this SQLAlchemy, Flask SQLAlchemy, tell us that use whenever you want some data from the table, use dot query, and then whatever format you want. So it can be all the things, or it can be first, or it can be last, or whatever. So after that, whatever you want to write.
Okay,
But first should be query, so that I can understand, or vast SQLAlchemy can understand that you are here asking for a data to be called from the database, or it should be queried from the database. To make it understand, we have to write query.
okay, right, okay,
Just like we are writing db.session to make it this database understand that now use this session to do some task. It can be add, it can be delete, it can be update or anything, but use this session to do a certain task, what we will be saying. And then at the end, the session should get a commit so that it can commit something.
Okay. Once it is committed, it means the session gets ended, is it?
Yeah, that
Okay.
is that. Uh, there's no then there should be a new session to be created after that.
Got it. And can we make this across functions, like committing in one other function? Is that possible?
Didn't get you. So if you want to add again, you have to write the commit again. Otherwise,
I
it
mean,
won't
like
end.
we are in general while using the app, we will be using multiple functions, right? Like this is home, and we will be
Hmm.
defining some other two extra functions
There
to
should
exert.
be a different session and commit should already. So after that, there should be a commit.
Okay.
For all the other functions, you have to write it down separately.
Okay. Got it. I mean, like, say for example, I want to insert a third user, and I'm writing a separate function def insert third user,
So
and
if you are writing here after this commit message, it won't consider inside this session. It will
okay.
create a new session. There, you have to again write the commit. If you are writing above this, it will understand that yeah, this should be committed along with those two. This is what you are asking.
I mean, like in line number 27, let's have some function like insert third user. And in
Hmm.
that separate function, I am adding the third user and then committing it.
In that function, so
Yes.
inside a function, you are calling a function. You are saying.
Yeah, correct. Exactly.
So
And that
there you have to commit. It won't understand this commit. In this function, if you are calling a function, there you should commit.
if we are calling that function from line number 30, it will commit even line number 28 and 29, is it? From the function.
No, no. So if you have a separate, you are calling a function, right?
Yeah.
The calling of the function, there in that function, you have to commit. Otherwise, it won't be understanding the session what you are talking about here. This session or the commit is happening inside this function only.
Okay. Okay.
So you can call the function that so the thing will come under just like a decorator thing. You are calling a function inside a function. This can be called as a decorator or wrapper function, something like that. It is uh, like that. So you can call it, but now you have to call this home function separately somewhere else so that this commit should work.
Okay.
But yeah, so it won't understand the commit happening in the separate function whenever you're calling it.
Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. And say, for example, let's do this. Like in line number 28 and 29, we are adding two users, right?
Hmm.
And line number 30, I'm creating one more function which adds a third user. And we are committing only in line number 31, right?
You are creating a function, there you are adding a third user.
Correct. And that function being called in line number 30.
Okay, try it out. I would advise you try it and see if this line number 31 commit is working or not. Try
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So you are saying here I will call a function, some other
Yes.
function, let's say all user function.
Yeah.
There I am saying db.session.add,
Yeah.
and then I am running this Flask name in the browser URL.
Correct.
And will this 31st line will work or not? Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead and try it. Let's yeah, come to the next session and let's see if
Yeah.
it
Sure.
has worked or not. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Sir,
So
after db.commit, if I write one more session in which I add the one more username, then how will it work? Can you tell please?
it this function will understand that you are adding something, but it won't be added to the database. This one, it won't be added till you commit that again. Commit is a
Once I
something last to be done.
once I have committed after the giving the new username, then it will add it.
Yeah. So it should be so this should be the last line what you are doing. So you can add anything, any number of things, but at the end you have to commit. If you have committed already and then adding some other details, it won't understand, and this function will know that you are doing something, but this database won't be able to add it inside that. So you have to commit again, make it understand.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so that's it from my side for today. We'll meet next week. Taking forward from here, we'll talk about relationship and also about few other delete queries and all, and then we will understand fully how SQL Alchemy works. Before that, you have a revision session which you can see in the Saturday, I guess, Saturday morning. I'll stop the recording. Thank you for joining.